There we go. All right, we've got a quorum here, but before you go live, I just wanted to do a little public service. All right, we are live? Great. All right, just a little PSA. Just for the members and the audience members, just remember that you should always assume that you are on camera and that your mics are hot. So this is not directed to any specific member of the committee, but just remember that your mics can be hot sometimes. So just make sure that you're aware that your conversations get picked up. So in all honesty, look, I uttered something under my breath the other day, and it got caught on a hot mic. So some of you may have seen that, and so I apologize for the colorful language that was caught. But seriously, just make sure that you're just self-aware when you're in the committee room that you're probably on mic and you're probably being recorded and broadcast over the internet. So with that, let's start our hearings. Yes, go ahead.
Just respond real briefly, Mr. Chairman, because
Sure.
That's great advice in the formality of a hearing like this, but it's totally inapplicable once we get into voting session, because they have to be of informal nature and exchange dialogue around this entire table. And therefore, as you know, I've continually objected to. I think it's counterproductive. It's foolish. It's anything else I could say. It has never been done historically for good reason, and all it does is serve to stifle discussion, stifle inquiry, stifle the debate, because these are tough issues we do in this committee. And if you have to if every question you ask has to be videotaped for posterity, it doesn't go there. We talk about rape and murder and incest and in sometimes rather graphic detail, and automobile accidents and this stuff. And we often have legitimate questions because the members of this committee, that's not the world we know, or we're not a bunch of prosecutors, defense attorneys, so we don't live in that world. So we need to ask those questions. And by continuing to force us to engage our discussions in this highly formalistic matter is counter to the best interests of the citizens of this state. It does not produce a good law. Thank you.
No, actually, I mean, look, the instance that my situation that I'm apologizing for happened during a voting session. And it was funny because earlier I'd taken great measure to be careful with my language and my word choice because we were dealing with a particularly sensitive and graphic issue. So your point well taken, I understand. And I think there has to be the flexibility to be able to have open and candid conversation with some of these issues. I think that's more relevant in this committee than perhaps others. So, Senator West.
Could I just add that in this era of rancid partisanship, people I'm quite confident that if they covered the whole debate, they would realize that we're all acting completely honorably and acceptably. But that's not what happens. They will excerpt a single sentence or sometimes a portion of a sentence in a way that would make you look bad when, if they covered it all in context, you didn't look bad at all. So I agree with Senator Casserly that, and somebody should relay this up the chain so that people at the top take note of this problem. Thanks.
Heard and understood. Roger that. Senator Huff.
And just so people understand, the voting sessions in the past they were open to the public. The public could sit in and watch them, and we always had press in here. We always had the Daily Record was always in here taking note of everything. So it wasn't like they were in secret. It's just echoing the concerns of the colleagues that now for the first time you're going to put all voting sessions in election year on video camera. I think it is somewhat stifle the debate, and no one's arguing for closed sessions because we've had open ones in the past. But I do think it's a bad judgment, and we're seeing that being borne out.
No, the senators' questions are all, I mean, their concerns are all legitimate, and I think could potentially have an adverse effect on the actual outcome of policy. So understood, will be relayed. Further comments from the committee? All right, excellent. So there's my mea culpa. Got that out of the way. We can now start the hearings. So today is Tuesday, February 22nd. We have, how many bills do we have on the docket? 1, 2, 3, 4, 11 bills on the docket. We'll start off with Senator McCray with Senate Bill 602. We'll then go to 424, 678, 681, 452, 629, 649, 662, 563, 564, 592. And with that, Senator McCray, if you'd like to invite your panel up, we'll start off with you. Welcome. There you go, you're on.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, Mr. Vice Chair, members of the committee. For the record, my name is Corey McCray, Senator for the 45th Legislative District. And Mr. Chair, I just want to start off by saying that I recognize that this mic is hot. But colleagues, in all seriousness, I come to you in reference to Senate Bill 602. Senate Bill 602 was before this same exact committee back in year 2020 when we first started with our COVID situation. And this bill passed out of this committee unanimously. It actually passed out of the Senate 45-0. The challenge was met in the House, but it was mainly met by COVID. Senator West, I'm not sure if you remember this bill, but this is the one where we had our district courts join us. We had Judge Morrissey on one side, we had Judge Pastore on one side, and they talked about one of the successes that's happening at our district courts. They talked about in reference to how at these integral points, at these moments where folks have the ability to shift the trajectory of their life, but mainly by pointing them in the direction of a job. We know what a job does for folks. We know that it puts food on the table. It keeps clothes on your back. We know that it houses not just ourselves, but also our children, and a very important piece of this. So I will also be joined again by Judge Morrissey and Judge Pastore to talk about the success that they've been having for the last several years, but 2016 to be exact is when it actually started. I'll also be joined by Brianna Pistone and Veronica Bitto in reference to just the employer piece of it and talking about the success that could happen from that. I just wanted to lift up, Mr. Chair, that this is also supported by our mayor of the city of Baltimore, has the support of our Senate delegation, but we will be voting officially this upcoming year. It's not a local bill, let me be clear, because the appropriation doesn't come from local government. And the only version, the only caveat to this bill, the two caveats to this bill that changes, Mr. Chair, that is not too big, but instead of $250,000, which you all passed, it would be $500,000, and it was sunset in 5 years. Is the two different things that this is here. I think that every one of you have voted for this, except for Senator Watson, but I do believe that Senator Watson, I don't want to speak for him, but I do think that he's probably in a posture to move in our direction. Mr. Chair, I just wanted to say thank you again for this opportunity, and I hope that as you hear the panel that you all will move favorable on Senate Bill 602. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Senator. And first we'll hear from Chief Judge Morrissey.
Yes, please.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Chairman Smith, Vice Chairman Wallstreicher, and members of the committee. It's great to see you all in person. Chair, as member of the judiciary, we're also very aware of when the red button is on in our courtrooms. But importantly, though, we're wrestling with some of the same type of issues that you're wrestling with as to the balance between, you know, trying to handle your court in an open and public business, yet at the same time not stifle any type of what goes on. So I feel for you. We're working it through, and hopefully we're going to come out with a plan that satisfies everybody. So I'll get to the point. My name is John Morrissey. I'm Chief Judge of the District Court. To my left is Judge Pastore, the founder and creator of the Baltimore City Reentry Program. We refer to it as DCREP, and I'll defer to her on the details of that program. But I do believe, and I thank Senator McCray for introducing this bill, this will better help DCREP serve its mission in aligning job services to individuals in need as an alternative to incarceration. I'm real proud of the success of this program. It's been a part of a larger and continuing recognition by the judiciary of the need to do things like problem-solving courts, drug courts, veterans courts, mental health courts. And the reentry program is special in that it matches services such as housing, employment opportunities, and extended training programs with those individuals that could really benefit with the job. It's also a recognition that collectively we cannot really ask someone to change their path unless we give them the tools in which to do so. And by addressing needs like this that are fundamental, a job is fundamental to everyone, in my opinion, this program has repeatedly demonstrated its value. I've been privileged to have attended some of the graduations. I think I've been to every one of them. I might have missed one, but it's one of those days that's really great to come to court because you see people where a change in life has occurred. In fact, I had one individual there that told me this was the first time he had ever had a job that he had to pay taxes on. And it took a minute for everyone, I'm not sure if I want to hear that, but it's also important because in Judge Pastore will tell you about this, they give them certificates and other things, and you can tell it's the first time anyone's acknowledged these individuals for success in their lives. And that, more than anything, is just a wonderful, wonderful opportunity for these individuals. So with that, I thank Senator McCray again. I think this bill advances on many fronts where the judiciary is going, and I think it's going to be the foundation of how we do things in the future. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you for having us here today. Thank you, Senator McCray, for once again supporting this bill. My name is Judge Nicole Pastore, and I'm on the Baltimore City District Court. It's coming up on 9 years on that court. It was after the unrest of April 2015 that I took a good look at what our city and our citizens were facing, those of us that appear before me every day. The reasons they were saying they were leading a life of crime or dealing drugs or getting into trouble, and that was the lack of an opportunity to do something, to wake up every morning, to be a productive member of society. And in that regard, there just weren't jobs. And I know people say all the time, there are plenty of jobs out there, but not for individuals who have criminal records. And some of the folks that appear before me will have one offense. Some may have 15 offenses. Some have done their time, but when they get back out, there is nobody to hire them. So over the course of 2 years, I worked with our state's attorney's office, the public defender's office, the Department of Parole and Probation, and Pretrial Services, and we developed a team of people who were willing to give individuals an opportunity while on probation. So this isn't as a get-out-of-jail-free card. It's basically an alternative to incarceration. It's another form of sentencing, just like we would sentence someone to mental health treatment or drug treatment. We're sentencing them to education and job treatment. The good news is we originally worked with 11 organizations. We now have 17 organizations that help get certificates in anything from forklift certification, lead paint removal, HVAC services, to direct employment with folks like Amazon, McCormick Spice, and Under Armour. As a part of their probation, they start working and they get trained. If they get a certificate, they are guaranteed job placement, and that is the key. Too many times we're giving people certifications, but we're not giving them jobs after the fact. This guarantees that. It's not only about punishment in our courtrooms, it's also about incentivizing. So if an individual is on probation to us, if they graduate, and that is 3 months consecutive full-time employment in the same position for the same company, then they graduate and they have a benefit, which may be having their probation fees waived, changing their supervision status from supervised to unsupervised, or cutting their probation time altogether. So they do their time, there is a punishment, there's something hanging over their head. However, there's the incentive to want to do things well. I'll end with the fact that we've had 7 graduations, 165 graduates, the overall effect of reducing recidivism, not seeing people back in the courtroom unless it's for the happy occasion of graduation. And graduation is a pomp and circumstance deal. So now they come back to court to have a positive experience with friends and family. They get a catered luncheon. The Baltimore Ravens have joined with us and provided a speaker. Every single graduation, from Ray Lewis to Buck Allen to Jameel McLean, every year there's somebody that speaks to these graduates. Under Armour gives them gifts, and then they walk away with a framed diploma. So with that said, I'll take any questions as well.
Thank you, Judge. We'll turn to committee for, go ahead, Senator West, and then Senator Hedelman, you next.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is a great bill. My initial question as I looked at it is why only one $500,000 appropriation? Why not for the future years? But I guess the answer is that in the future years, we don't need to mandate appropriations because we have the ability to do it ourselves. Is that right?
You're absolutely right, but it is a mandated appropriation for 5 years.
Oh, I didn't see that. And if you look in the fiscal note, it looks like there's $500,000 in the first year and then zero in the following years.
Yeah, it's actually 5 years. And then it sunsets after the 5th year.
Okay. So we just, again, where is this? It says, for fiscal year 2024, the governor shall include in the annual state budget and appropriation at least $500,000. I don't see anything requiring money.
Just look on the back, the page 2, 14 through 17.
And I was going to say, you can find it inside the bill, line 9 through 17.
Okay. Well, we can work on that. But even if we didn't, we have the ability to change the budget in
Yes, we
future
do.
years to put money in there for that.
Yes, sir.
Okay, great, thanks.
Chairman, I remember this bill from 2 years ago. I had talked to my county folks about doing something like this, but for a variety of reasons, including personnel changes. So I'm just wondering, will you give technical assistance to other jurisdictions who
So-
might be
By all
incentivized to do
means.
this?
I mean, I will tell you that we started with volunteers. That's how this started. I had a bunch of law interns that just helped me go out and find other nonprofits, which you're going to hear from one of our partners shortly, that were willing to train individuals with records and help them along the way, because they also need a support system as well. We've had one case manager who regularly manages over 200 individuals. That was we got a GOCAP grant for that. That was 1 year. We were able to get a PIN through the judiciary about 3 years ago, and we still have one individual with a host of interns that assist on this. So during the course of COVID, we did get this up and running in Montgomery County. So I have worked with Judge Karen Ferretti and Sherry Cock, their administrative judge, and we started it about a year ago. Unfortunately, because it was during COVID that it was ramping up, we haven't seen the successes yet because the courts have been closed sometime, and we are looking right now, working with another judge in Howard County and one in Frederick County. So hopefully we can duplicate this. I will tell you, it's the first in the country that has done something like this. We've had a lot of positive press, and people reach out from LA, Wisconsin, and Boston.
Well, we're just up the road a piece in Baltimore County.
Yeah.
Senator, Judge Pastore came and presented to all the administrative judges. We've talked about it many, many times. I think everyone's very interested in this. It's just a matter of getting it done at this point.
Great, thank you.
Well, Judge Pastore, you deserve to be acknowledged publicly for this. I just want to say thank you for this. This is a tremendous effort, and look forward to supporting this. Obviously, public safety is a perennial issue that we deal with here, and this funding, a renewed interest in funding certain programs that have demonstrated success. And so, I for one, am certainly interested in supporting this effort in whichever way possible. Obviously, we're going to have to consult with our peers on budget and tax, but I think you have a friend over there. So, but I guess my question would be so for the recording and the metrics, the metrics of success and the reporting that's required or specified in the bill. Can you just speak a little bit more toward what would be recorded and then reported back, because it has a reporting requirement, but I didn't see kind of a level of just kind of specificity, and just wanted to understand some of the metrics you all have been monitoring.
Do you want me to take that?
Please.
Okay. So as of, I want to say 2.5 years ago, we finally got a database. It's called SMART. So I kept every individual has a paper file that we keep from every communication, their certification, where they're working. Unfortunately, with the population that we are dealing with, a lot of individuals move and change phone numbers. So it is hard to track them after graduation. We do our best with running their names through case search, judiciary, because the success is recidivism rate. And there's two things that we measure. In 2017, it cost $43,842 to incarcerate someone for 1 year. And I always say it costs us nothing to give them a job. So then we look at the course of the graduations, 165 graduates. And I want to caution to say that this statistic is prior to COVID. Prior to COVID, we had a 6.8% recidivism rate. The state of Maryland is close to 70% recidivism rate. Again, that's prior to COVID. What we do is we put much information in the system that we can, And then we try, well, I'll be honest, hopefully with the budget and the more funding, we'll have more people that can help track and keep tabs on folks after graduation. But criminal records, we look up. And so that's something we've been able to keep track of.
Look, we have to, sorry, go ahead, Senator.
Now, I just wanted to acknowledge that Senator West was absolutely correct. The bill was drafted wrong. It's supposed to be 5 years appropriation. Obviously, we do have the budget. We have the flexibility on going years. That next fiscal year, we don't. So I just wanted to lift that back up, because he was correct.
It's funny you said, I just literally, we had council put in the request for clarification on that and for the authorization to do that. So, yeah, that's great. So, yes, I think as we're looking forward to supporting this effort, and we'll all get smart on smart so we can understand what, how we're tracking metrics and, because that'll be important as we continue to fund the effort. So, thank you very much. Thank you, Chief Judge Morrissey, Judge Santori, Senator. Thank you all. Thank you.
I know we
you.
have a couple more witnesses,
yeah.
but I do got 2 briefings that's going on in my committee. so-
Understood.
Yes, sir.
Understood. We won't hold it against you. All right. All right, next we'll hear from, just just another announcement. So for folks following online, the camera is having trouble shifting to the witness table. So if everyone, if you're on the panel, if you can come back up to the center to take questions, but our apologies to the people watching back home. Okay, next we'll hear from Ms. Bido, Jane Miller, Brianna Pistone. You can all come up. Yeah. And you can proceed in whichever order you'd like.
Oh, wonderful. All right, perfect. I'll begin when everyone's ready. Okay. Good afternoon. My name is Brianna Pistone. I, as well as my 2 colleagues here today, are Work First Foundation Fellows working closely with AmericaWorks of Maryland, Inc. I appreciate the opportunity to speak to you today in support of the bail diversion program and the resources provided to support the success and rehabilitation of the clients sent to us. In June of 2017, AmericaWorks of Maryland collaborated with the Work First Foundation and Baltimore City District Court Judge Pastore to launch the Bail Diversion Initiative. The goal of our program is to provide stable and gainful employment as an alternative to incarceration, giving deserving defendants a second chance. When AmericaWorks of Maryland receives a referral for services, we assess an individual's immediate needs, such as stable housing, childcare, transportation, and professional clothing. After this assessment, they are immediately enrolled in job training services and meet with an AmericaWorks of Maryland sales representative to find an employment situation that fits their skills and qualifications. Our trainings range from basic skills, including resume writing, interview preparation, conflict resolution, to more advanced computer skills and essential professional skills. As of January 2022, we are proud to share that we have placed 140 participants into full-time employment. 87% have been retained for 30 days, 80% for 90 days, and 67% for 180 days. Due to our long-standing relationship in the Baltimore metro area, we have partnered with employers willing to hire defendants despite having open cases. They, as well as AmericaWorks of Maryland, believe in stable employment as the means for a second chance to reintegrate into society. Thank you so much for hearing me today. I'll pass on to my colleagues.
May I proceed? Good afternoon. My name is Veronica Bito, and I'm one of the Work First Fellows that assist in managing and supporting the bail diversion program. At AmericaWorks and the Work First Foundation, at the core of what we do is assisting marginalized communities by connecting them with employment and also helping them with workforce development training. Our bail diversion program is no exception, and it's a program that plays a critical part because with the participants, we are partners alongside them on this journey. Our program is unique in its approach because we utilize employment and economic empowerment to assist them in order to gain employment and retain it. You know, we try to assist each and every participant, not just to help them get hired, but to make sure they can keep the job. And if they want to transition into a different career, that they are able to do so. I hope that you all can see and observe and witness, especially from all of our testimonies, that this project has been successful and impactful. We hope that we can continue to transform bail and pretrial across the state of Maryland. Thank you all for your time and your consideration.
Hello, am I good to go as well? All right. Good afternoon and thank you. My name is Jane Miller and I'm another fellow focusing on the bail diversion program, which has worked with over 400 individuals since its inception in 2017. So there's long been a need for bail reform in the city of Baltimore. Historically, the practice of cash bail has disproportionately harmed low-income individuals and communities of color, and a 2015 study done by the Barry Institute of Justice actually found that 60% of people in jail were not convicted, but merely could not afford to pay the required monetary amount for their bail. Academic literature has also found that in large urban areas, Black defendants, felony defendants are over 25% more likely than white defendants to be held pretrial. For these reasons and countless others, Baltimore has implemented new reforms to pretrial detainment, and these practices have significantly reduced the percentages of those held for cash bail, with numbers dropping from an initial 35% to 14% by the end of 2018. Unfortunately, in the same time frame, there has been a jump in those held without the option of bail in any form, and as opposed to keeping anyone in pretrial detainment, we need more resources for initiatives like the bail diversion program, which offer an alternative to incarceration before trial and ultimately the opportunity for stability through employment. During a time when trials were pushed back even further due to the COVID-19 pandemic, our clients took advantage of their opportunities and found employment in areas like places like the Home Depot, Second Ave thrift stores, UPS, Amazon, Green Bay Packaging, and more. The bail diversion program at America Works of Maryland provides a way for individuals to gain meaningful life skills and find employment at a lower cost than incarceration, but we do need strong support and resources to continue serving Baltimore residents in the best manner possible. Thank you so much for your time, and I urge your support of Senate Bill 602. Thank you.
Excellent, thank you very much. Looking to the committee for questions? Seeing no further questions, thank you all. Thanks. And with that, I believe that will conclude the testimony for Senate Bill 602. Thank you all very much. So we're going to take a quick moment here to make a technical correction for the cameras. So it'll be just a few moments. We'll be offline, but we'll come right back, and then we'll take up Senator Hayes. So just a brief pause here.